Everyone. I, Dr. Shweta Bhambu, welcome you all to the first keynote session of the 23rd Indian Prosthodontic Society Postgraduate Convention. Our chairpersons for this oration will be Dr. Akshay Bhargav, President, Indian Prosthodontic Society, and Dr. Rupesh, Secretary, Indian Prosthodontic Society. Ladies and gentlemen, now we come to the prestigious Dr. T.M. Udani oration to be delivered by an eminent prosthodontist and past president, Indian Prosthodontic Society, Dr. Ravindra Savdi. I now hand over the mic to our distinguished chairpersons.
Thank you so much, Shweta. Our dear students, faculty members, and all of you who are waiting to listen to the Dr. T.M. Udani oration lecture by Dr. Ravindra Savdi. Briefly, it's my privilege to let you know this legendary gentleman on whose name today the oration is. Professor Dr. T.M. Udani was a founder president of the Indian Prosthodontic Society. Born in 1924 at Rajkot, he completed his BDS in 1945 from the CEM Dental College, Mumbai, completed his MSc from the University of Toronto, Canada in 1957. Sir started the first MDS course in prosthetic dentistry in 1959. And we are all prosthodontists because he started the course in the country. In 1973, Sir founded the Indian Prosthodontic Society, a man of many talents and knowledge of many subjects. From his peers and from his students, what I gather, that one could talk to him on any subject under the sky. A very well-traveled and respected personality and a great visionary and leader. I take great pride to state that I am the second generation student of his, since he also was the guide of my MDS guide, Dr. K.V. Subbarao and V.K. Subbarao. So, in a way, I am also in the same lineage attached to his teaching. In the fond remembrance of his great legacy, the Professor T.M. Udani oration lecture is always conducted. And today we have none other than our immediate past president of the society, Dr. Ravindra Savdi, to deliver this lecture. I request Dr. Rupesh, Secretary IPS, to kindly introduce Dr. Ravindra Savdi. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Akshay Bhargav, for that excellent insight into what this oration is all about. Ladies and gentlemen, it now gives me immense pleasure in presenting to you the orator for this prestigious Dr. T.M. Udani oration, Professor Dr. Ravindra Savdi, to this very august audience. Dr. Ravindra Savdi, born to late Dr. C.M. Savdi and Professor Dr. Shivaratna Savdi, who was an eminent professor and teacher in orthodontics. He went on to complete his graduation from the V.S. Dental College and later completed his post-graduation in prosthodontics from the prestigious Government Dental College, Bangalore. Dr. Savdi is an excellent academician and a clinician and also an equally good orator. And he was a professor and head of prosthodontics at the Oxford Dental College and Hospital, Bangalore, before he started focusing his attention on private practice, in which he excels. He is a PhD guide and certified by the Rajiv Gandhi University of Health Sciences and has multiple publications to his credit, both national and international. He has given his human service to the Indian Prosthodontic Society, being the past editor of the prestigious Journal of the Indian Prosthodontic Society, past secretary of the Indian Board of Prosthodontics, the chairman of the IPS Student of the Year, and more recently, the past president of our society, the IPS. He is currently the permanent executive council member of the IPS Executive Council. He has served credibly in various organizations in various capacities as organizers and as an organizer and as a leader, and he is known for his legendary leadership skill and management skills. He is married to Dr. Anupama, an eminent orthodontist herself, and they are blessed with two children, Dr. Ravina and son Ishan. Friends, students, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me immense pleasure to introduce and present to you Dr. Ravindra Savdi, who will be delivering the prestigious Dr. T.M. Udani oration. Over to you, Dr. Ravi.
Good morning. Thank you so much for the kind introduction, Dr. Rupesh, good friend, and of course, Dr. Akshay. Thank you for your presence here. And J.R. Patel, sir, also. At this point of time, I would also like to acknowledge Professor Rangarajan, the President-elect of Indian Prosthodontic Society, and Treasurer, Dr. George, and Assistant Secretary, Dr. Hari, and the Editor-in-Chief, of Indian Journal of the Indian Prosthodontic Society, Dr. Gopi Chandar. It's a little bit funny to talk to only 4 or 5 people in the audience, and then somewhere around, I'm looking at the camera, and somewhere around there are probably hundreds of people sitting and seeing. So it's a different experience altogether. But then that's how it's going to be, I guess, and that's what we have to get used to. As President Sir mentioned, it is indeed a prestige and a privilege for me to be awarded the T.M. Udani oration lecture. And I deem it a great honor to do anything for the Indian Prosthodontic Society. So I was, when I started making this publication, or rather this writing, I began to wonder what oration means exactly. Though we know oration speaker, I wanted to know what an oration exactly means. So I went on the net and I searched around. I couldn't get any very nice articles or any very good review on oration. So these are a few things which I got. It is a noun of formal public speech, especially one delivered on a special occasion, as on an anniversary, at a funeral, or at academic exercises. So the purpose of oration, it is I just got this on this particular definition and examples of thought.com. An oration is an oral discourse on a worthy and dignified theme, adapted to the average hearer, and whose aim is to influence the will of that hearer. So I don't plan to influence anything that you don't want to get influenced by, but my plan is to, my aim is to talk to you a few things, my thoughts, and I want to express my clinical experience, which I have gained over the past. I started actually doing dentistry by myself in 1988. And I've been born to a dentist who had a dental clinic inside the house. So as a child also, I played around with mercury, and so there was no, my mother was not really aware of what mercury poison was. So I have played with plenty of mercury, just playing around with it so often. And it's only later on that we began to read about mercury poisoning and other stuff. Na abhisheke na samskaraha simhasya kriyate vane vikramarjita satvasya swayameva mrugendrita. So this is a Subhashitani, which basically means the lion is crowned the king of the jungle by his actions. There is no grand ceremony to crown the lion the king of the jungle. Unfortunately, I'm seeing that you got the screen on the here. Okay, good. Because I was thinking that you are just not able to see what I am able to see. Yeah, good, that's fine. So the lion is crowned the king of the jungle. There is no formal coronation. The lion is crowned the king, Vikramarjita Satvasya, by his own deeds. Similarly, we are having a lot of self-crowned or hard-working prosthodontists in our Indian Prosthodontic Society. So this is a photograph which I found, which was the first IPS conference at Madras, then Madras, in January 1974. And then from the left to right, before that, the person with the tie is Professor E.G.R. Solomon, with whom I should remember. I have had very fond interactions with him, and he's been a good guide. And then Professor Mr. Mishra is there. Then there is a gentleman from the Max Muller Bhavan, Mr. Himmler. And then we see Dr. T.M. Udani. And then the next person is from the left is Mr. Narayanan or Dr. Narayanan, who was the Director of Medical Education at that time. And the last person we see is Dr. Kashyap Bhargava in this photograph of the first IPS conference in January 1974. I must say that Professor Solomon dressed just the same way even the last time that I met him. I have a lot of regard for him. And I have met and interacted with Professor Kashyap Bhargava. And he is also done a lot of work on posterior palatal seal area. And if you go back to the publications done a long time back, you can see those the works done by Dr. Kashyap Bhargava. T.M. Udani, sir, I myself personally have not met. He probably shifted off to America. And as Professor Akshay, the president, has said, he was the founder president of the Indian Prosthodontic Society. And he was a prolific lecturer and a great teacher, and also dean of the Government Dental College. He passed on October 19, 2009 in Pittsburgh, America. And he was known to be a pillar of strength in forming the Indian Prosthodontic Society. There is a tribute to Professor T.M. Udani by Solomon sir on this site of the Journal of Indian Prosthodontic Society, published in July 2011 during my term as the editor-in-chief. So it's a beautiful article. It's a series of publications. I would ask the students to go ahead and view this or read this article. It is well written, and it gives you a lot of insights into the basics of prosthodontics. My lecture, I have divided it out into 4 parts. So I have not given a title for this oration. This is just an oration lecture. So one of them is my bottom lines in complete denture prosthodontics, each step of the complete denture prosthodontics by my experience. As a teacher, I have noticed that the students are always trying to know when to stop a particular procedure, be it trimming of a tray or making a primary impression or doing the border molding, or they're not very clear when to stop a jaw relation. So I have given a few bottom lines which will help the student to stop a particular procedure. And then, being the past editor of the Indian Prosthodontic Society, I have to talk about identifying something about the journal and writing of an article. So identifying the right article, where all you can go wrong. And I want to talk about interdisciplinary approach, wherein I can say that prosthodontics is a wonderful branch, and I'm always proud to be a prosthodontist, even more proud as ever to be a prosthodontist. Finally, I would like to talk about celebrations IPS. My English, you might think, is a little bit strange here, but then this is what I want to title this last part of my topic. So there are 4 different topics, and before I proceed with this, I want to discuss about the wonderful conference, all the atmosphere that has been created here, in spite of the constraints that have been felt by the organizing committee. So this is a beautiful website, and I have just grabbed the screenshots of this. And my best wishes to the team headed by Narendra Padiyar and Gaurav Pal Singh, Dr. Sudhir Meena, Secretary, and Dr. Pragati. So all the best for the rest of the conferences. You have done an amazing job, and I'm sure you will continue to do a great job. My first part of the topic, I'll try to keep this short. Bottom lines in complete denture fabrication. So the steps in complete denture prosthodontics should never be compromised. These are your basic steps. You have to follow these basic steps. Your case history, diagnosis, treatment planning, and then your primary impression has to be done. You cannot do just a final one impression and finish it off. You have to do a primary impression. You have to do a final impression, and then the basics about the jaw relationships and your verification of jaw relationship, the denture delivery, and post-insertion management. So under medical history, I've been practicing now for about 30 plus years. I've been doing dentistry for 30 plus years. I have realized I've seen patients who are young, maybe even when they were there in their 50s. Now I'm seeing the people, same people in their 80s. And I can see a marked change in their neuromuscular coordination. Just wearing a complete denture for an older patient is such a difficult thing. Even taking it in their hand is such a difficult thing. So age of a patient does matter. And of course, infections, you have to be careful about it. And again, chronic illnesses, diabetes will matter. And I am not talking about the simple case, nice, well-rich, well-formed, rich 60-year-old fit man. I'm talking about a person who is around 65, 70, 75, 80 plus years of age, and health may or may not be good. So even if there is good health, I see that they still have a difficulty in coordinating their hand-eye movement. Again, the motor skills also. The bottom lines of the dental history, an old denture wearer, it is more easier for him to, for the dentist to deliver the denture treatment, complete denture treatment. Basically because he knows what to expect out of it. The new denture wearer thinks that he is just going to wear the denture and then he's going to talk and walk and do whatever that he wants to do with his natural teeth. So it is little difficult. I even had I have had patients who have been complaining so much about a big base and so a number of teeth and things like that. And then the period of edentullousness, the longer they are edentulous without a complete denture, without any kind of a formal way of mastication, it is more difficult again to give them the complete denture treatment. The cause of tooth loss, we all know. If there is a periodontally involved situation, then you can definitely expect a lot of bone loss. And if it is a caries part, then you don't expect much of bone loss. The salivation, we all know. I will not go very deep into it, but then the ideal salivation is the more of a serous type than a mucus type. And then the quality, we need it to be firm and resilient. And we want to avoid flabby tissue. Tori, if it can be accommodated in your denture, you can maintain it. If not, it has to be excised. But most times I have not, in my so far in my practice, I have not excised any tori. I have been able to manage with the tori. And then the use of undercuts, if it's a unilateral undercut, it is going to be a retentive undercut. Otherwise, it is better that you excise it. So this is something which we did. This is quite a huge undercut. And even if it's unilateral also, it is going to be difficult for the patient to wear the denture in such a situation. And better to excise this out. Allow it to heal and then do the replacement. Now, impressions in complete denture, like I mentioned, you need to do 2 impressions. You have to do a primary impression and a final impression. And the diagnostic cast will include, now I might be giving you tips, the disclaimer, but all students must follow what your head of department is saying. These tips you can use when you are using as a bottom line. But your head of department or your teacher or PG guide is your boss. So don't say that Ravindra Savdi said something and you are going to follow it with your head of department. So that is a disclaimer. So this definition we all know. It should, the accurate diagnostic cast will include all the anatomical landmarks that should be covered by a denture base and allow a custom tray to be made that will permit a very accurate final impression. So impression materials in my dental practice, in the primary impression, I do it with Arginate. Here I purposely selected a case, which is a little bit difficult. And then it is a partially edentulous case in the lower jaw and a fully edentulous case in the upper jaw. This particular case is done by VS Dental College. I have to thank my friend, Dr. Surendra Kumar, for this photographs. I wanted to show a good rich case also. And so this is what he has sent me. And you make the primary impression either with Arginate or with the medium fusing compound, the impression compound. When you do the primary impression, we all know that we are going to use a more viscous material. So it is going to press the tissue. The advantage with the impression compound is you can heat it and then remake the impression. But still it is viscous and it is going to go and impinge on the surrounding tissue. So you are going to make a proper land of the cast. You can see this arrow. And then in your tray can extend to the depth of the sulcus in the cast. But then you should understand that the material that is used is a viscous material. It is pushing inside, it is impinging. So you have to trim your tray sufficiently. And then the thickness of the tray also matters. So if your tray is done as per the depth of the sulcus and the land of the cast that you have got, then the margin is going to be thick. This is not what you want to do. You need to modify the margin adequately, the tray borders, and ensure that it is fitting properly within the oral cavity. When you reflect a roll of the tissue, when you pull it out and reflect it, you have to see at least about a millimeter or two of the tray in the mouth, of the reflection of the sulcus in the mouth. So you are going to see this part. This is important that you are going to relieve the tray sufficiently. And then only you can put your low fusing material on that. If you see this case here, this is the anterior nasal spine. So you can understand the amount of resorption that is being here. And this is the mark from the older denture, which the patient has been using for a longer time. So this is a bit of a laceration of the skin there. One other thing that I want to say, everything is there in this small oral cavity. The clinician just has to look into the mouth and look for these things. And even if one doesn't look for it, just spend time looking into the mouth, you will see a lot of things. And coming back to my topic at hand, the posterior palatal seal area, it's not a big deal. You don't have to asking the patient to say ha, ha, ha multiple times. You can just ask him to say 4 or 5 times. And this again is a weak ridge. You can see that. So you can see the junction of the movable and immovable part of the palate. You're going to mark it. And of course, the T-burnisher is used to mark the hamular notch. It is just as simple as this. It is going to take you about 1 minute, 30 seconds to maybe 1 minute. Train the patient a couple of times earlier. See this, look for the marking inside the mouth. And then once you have marked it, you have to transfer the mark to the tray. And it should be visible on some part of the tray. The posterior palatal seal area line must be visible and it must be extended in the special tray that you have done. It should not be unsupported. You are not going to keep the border molding material in that area. The border molding material is just going to collapse. So your tray must be covering the posterior palatal seal area. And I have done a tray without any spacer. You have to follow what your head of department says, whether it is spacer with the tissue stops, as what was seen earlier by Dr. Surendra and his case. So you have got the a full spacer with a tissue stop here. Now, this particular photograph, I want to highlight the shining surface and the matted surface. So I requested Dr. Surendra to send me this. So the shiny surface means that there is no contact of the border molding area with the mucosa. So it is shiny. If there is contact, then it is going to be a matte finish. So again, keep in mind, the matte finish can also mean over contact. So seeing a matte finish is not the end of your border molding. You put the impression material, you put the tray into the mouth along with the border molding and ask the patient to make all the movements, whatever movements that the patient has to do on a routine day when he's eating and talking and laughing. So that those movements and the tray must stay in place. So only then, that is the end of your border molding. And it will not take much time. Students take an hour to do an upper border molding, an hour and a half for the lower border molding. No, it is not going to take much time. I take more time setting the tray than doing the border molding actually. So setting the tray, because I want to be accurate, that is where my, what shall I say, the USP of my complete denture delivery system is. And once the tray is set, this is not at all going to take much time. And once you finish it, you need to have a matted finish, and the patient should have freedom of movement in all kinds of movement. Even the upper jaw or the lower jaw, there should be adequate movement. One other thing that I have to mention, in the lower denture, patients are, it's a good, well-fitting lower denture. Patients are in the habit of coming over and saying, lifting their tongue up and saying, see, the denture is popping out. So you have to inform the patient that the denture is made only for purpose of eating, and then maybe putting your tongue a little bit on the side, on either side, lifting out any food and wetting the lip. This is all the purpose of the denture. The patient cannot go about doing a lot of extreme movements with the denture in the mouth. So that is a limitation of the denture. The patient must be explained about the limitations of the denture. You need to be aware yourself also to be able to explain to the patient. It is not like a natural tooth. A natural tooth, we all know, if I make a canine to canine contact, it's got nothing to do with the molar. But with a complete denture, if I put my canine to canine contact, then the denture is going to get lifted up on the other side. So this side, wondering, well, this is how my final impression is. I use a Pentamix monophase material for my final impression. And then I'm making the movement, the tray is not falling off. Then a little bit of resistance must be there once you make the impression. So I finished this. I was wondering, should I show this impression or not? Because there are going to be a lot of senior teachers also watching this program, because this is a bad impression. My focus was on trying to get the video properly, and I made a bad impression. You can see that the tray is shifted, and then you can see an air bubble also here. So this kind of impressions need to be repeated. There is no second thoughts about it. You can see that this is a thinner area here because the tray is shifted, the border is exposed. You can see a thicker area here. So I thought this is a good thing to say what not to be done. You can see this nice air bubble. Because I shifted the tray, there is also the exposure of the tray in the center. The midline also is shifted. Now, I will not get into this jaw relations. So we all know what are the different types of jaw relations. My bottom line for jaw relations. Now, this is a around 80-year-old patient. I do not want to make her look 60 or even 70. I want her to have basic aesthetics. And important for her at her age is to have function. So I have not brought out the lip too much. It is just what is required. The lip support is sufficient for her. And this is the case who was having the anterior nasal spine, which is prominent. So this is my body. I'm asking her to say yes. When she says yes, that is the Niswangas technique. The upper and lower teeth come close to each other without actually making contact. And remember, this is a partially edentulous case. So the difference in recording a jaw relation with a lower dentulous and upper edentulous area is if you soften the tray completely and ask the patient to bite, the patient is just going to freely bite. So you have to soften the tray partially only adequate enough so that when the patient bites, only a small amount of indentation is visible, which you can transfer it over after that to the cast. Now, the patient can overbite also. You can just ask the patient, but then you as a prosthodontist or the clinician or the treating dentist must pay attention to this particular aspect. So there should not be an overbite, and you have to maintain the height that you have recorded. So this is the older case again. Note that there is a kind of a class 3 relationship, which I am not going to change. Maybe I might just put it into a class 1 little bit, but it's not going to give too much of a lip support for her. So this is another older case, again, a very weak ridge, and this patient was a little bit more difficult for me to handle because she had been edentulous for more than 2 years. But she did cooperate. The lip support you can see is adequate as you see aesthetically right now. So again, I'm asking her to say yes. I'm asking her to, my usual thing is either a yes or a Mysore. So I want to see the freeway space, and also I want to see that Niswangas technique. That is what I follow. I make these markings in the mouth, and once this is done, again, I showed this because the technician had given inadequate extension of the record base. So the denture base was falling off, the record base was falling off. I have reinforced along with the low fusing compound. And you can also see that I am not again trying to do too much for the anterior part. I'm not trying to do too much on the aesthetics. And this is a trial bite, and important to see that the posterior part is not making contact. That is, the heel of the denture should not make contact. If there is contact, this is something which you always have to check. If there is contact with the heel of the denture has got it, the lower denture or the upper has got a tendency to deviate the mandible. So your jaw relation record is not going to be right. This you check it on either side and then make this. Another bottom line is always the neutral zone, wherein you are going to balance the forces of your cheek and tongue such that the denture is not going to move around. And then the trial or verification of your relationship is just whatever that you have done all along. This is your final call. You have to, the final trial, the denture is going to be as just like the final denture that you're going to, the trial base is going to be just like the final denture that you're going to deliver. Denture delivery, when you're going to deliver the denture, you first have to satisfy yourself that you're happy with the denture. And then you sit down and you talk to the dentist, rather to the patient. You have to inform him that he is a different individual by himself. He is not like any other friend who is sitting in the park. Old people have a tendency to sit and talk. Let them, that's their life. Let them enjoy themselves. So they are going to discuss. I don't have any problem. I can, my Hindi is a little weak and my Kannada is more stronger. Anyway, I don't have any problem. I just wore the denture and began to speak and talk and do everything. So he is going to come back to you and say that my friend doesn't have any problem. His friend will have a different DNA, different body structure, different mindset, and he might not have felt his problem also. He might have ignored it. So this patient is again a different patient. And then there are going to be sore areas with the new denture. Phonetics is, I think, the least of the problem because the tongue will adapt itself very quickly. Mastication is going to take time. Salivation, you have to inform the patient it is going to increase for a couple of days. And then, like I told you, the limitations of the denture, it is only up to the movement of the lip and licking the lip or wetting the lip and then trying to lift just any food particle that is entrapped around buccally. And it is not for any other extreme eccentric movements. And then the life of the denture also must be told. The patient must be told that what he was 5 years ago is not the same today. So there is a change going to be in the ridge also. Whereas the denture is going to remain the same. A little bit of a wear out here and there. And then, of course, the care of the denture. So I give a handout like this. The patient is going to read these things. And coming to the post-insertion management, it is basically due to the overextension of the denture. There might be a lot of other things, but I'm again giving you the bottom lines. It is basically due to overextension of the denture and can be due to occlusion irregularities. So there is going to be an ulceration. So this is about the complete dentures. And then I want to talk about the little bit more difficult thing, but more important things for the postgraduate students and also for the teachers, how to identify a right article and where all you can go wrong. So it is to be able to get an article or to be able to, like what was being discussed in the inauguration, it is important to be disciplined, focused, and to know the available information sources if you wish to practice your daily work in an evidence-based way. So there are plenty of viable search strategies like books. This is done by Professor Rangarajan and Professor Padmanabhan. And then journal articles, our Journal of Indian Prosthodontic Society, for example, there are hundreds of thousands of journals. And then scientific papers, lectures that are given. Dissertations are also a good source, but then dissertations have to be original. They should not be about transverse strength of acrylic resin or strength of compressive strength of zirconia, etc. So these are the normal dissertations that are done. And then web search engines. So this I'm going to talk to you about doing an online literature search. So there are numerous important advantages of online access to literature bases. Availability at any time and any place in the world, easy handling due to the user-friendly interface of the World Wide Web, and capable of linking directly to the private database. Now, this morning when I came here, I was expecting a screen in the side and I was thinking I'm going to be talking around here like something like a Filmfare Award or an Oscar, and then I'm going to be moving around. So no such thing happened. I'm still moving around and you are able to see the screen. So this is the basic application. And there are about 30 people around here and all of them have their phones holding in their hand. So the online thing, the technology is moving on to such a so rapidly since the past year and a half. We didn't know about Zoom before this pandemic started. And we have to keep ourselves upgraded with what's happening. So online literature search is also the same. You can sit in your house or in your room or sit at your desk in your college and you can search for articles. So for general purpose searching, Googling will help, but still you have to make sure that you have found the right information. Any information, anything that you see on print is not to be accepted outright, because a lot of uh, fake news, lot of stupid news comes into the picture. So giving you 15 scholarly search engines: Google Scholar, Google Books, Microsoft Academic, Worldwide Science, science.gov, and then Wolfram Alpha. These are scholarly search engines. RefSeek, Educational Resources Information Center, Virtual Learning Resources Center, iSeek. Now, as a clinician, pure clinician, I get a lot of information on the net. So these are some of the sites which I do retrieve my information. ResearchGate, the base of the BL Field Academic Search Engine, Infotopia, PubMed Central, and then the Lexis Web. So these are some of the sites which the student can go to and get the scholarly articles. Through the search engines, you also find the home pages of many universities and other learned society home pages. And you can also find online encyclopedias like Wikipedia. So whatever material that you find, you need to have a criteria for assessing the quality of healthcare information on the internet. You cannot just accept whatever that is there. People come to us talking about, sir, doctor, is oil pulling okay? So what are you going to say? You as a youngster, you are not aware oil pulling is what oil pulling is. A lot of people have come. So my standard, this in anything that is published in a standard journal, which has been peer reviewed, is acceptable for me. There is no such oil pulling which is written in any standard journal. So you cannot just outright accept it. There will also, many people also say, if you remove the upper teeth, will we go blind? So this is all hearsay. We don't want hearsay. We want to see in a scholarly article all these things. So for you to understand, again, I'm once again repeat, criteria for assessing the quality of healthcare information on the net. So you get this forward. This year, December has 5 Saturdays, 5 Sundays, and 5 Mondays. This only happens once in every 824 years. And many of us just open it. Oh, wow, is this great? This is so, I'm so proud. I'm so happy to be alive during this time. But then this is not it. This happens every time a 31-day month ends on a Monday. So this happens at least 3 to 4 times in every year. So similarly, there are a lot of other things which come. Now you saw this, the young lady who came here along with her father. He came on work. You know who she is, Ivanka Trump. So this guy put her up on the back of his bicycle. And somebody else also posted Manoj Bajpayee lusting at her. But then the simple photograph is this. So you don't have to get carried away by a photograph like this. And then the article you're searching for is not found. Reporter of the article is not found. And oops, the agency is not found. So how do you spot fake news? You consider the source, click away from the story to investigate the site, and then its mission and its contact info. You read beyond. The headlines can be outrageous. All the news agencies, they try to, all the news channels, they try to make up their PRPs. So the headlines can be outrageous. What's the whole story? And then ask, is it a joke? Is it, if it is too outlandish, it might be a satire. Check the date, most important. Check the date. Reposting old stories doesn't mean they're relevant to current ones. Then check the author. Do a quick search on the author. Are they credible? Are they real? There are many people who are supporting only one line. So supporting sources, the people who are talking, what is their supporting sources? Then you ask the experts and check your biases. So finally, coming down to the criteria for assessing the quality of healthcare information on the net, the attributes and affiliations of the authors. So if you are talking about any particular, now the major part is on vaccine. So if you're talking about any particular vaccine, if I am working for the company, I try to promote that vaccine more. Or if I'm administering it, I promote it more. So similarly, I can be using a particular material, and I use that. Now the latest fad is the Anamic by Vita, which is a resin reinforced ceramic block, which is used for milling. So if I am working for Vita or if I am paid by Vita, then I'm going to promote that material more. And then disclosure of funding sources. So I might not be working for Vita, but then Vita has provided me some funds. So I try to talk about them. Then there is check it up if there is a regular updating of material. And then statements, or even better, linked citations leading to supporting evidence. Now, for the postgraduate student, what do you mean by citations? So I have published an article. It is a peer-reviewed article. So whether my article has been cited by another person, maybe the president, when he writes his article, if he has used my article as a reference, then he has cited it. That means that there is additional credibility for my article. So that it has been accepted. And then like that, if another 10, 20 people cite my articles, then more number of citations I get, the more accepted my article is going to be. And endorsement by respected individuals or organizations. And lastly, common sense coupled with your own experience and expertise. So what are the reliable sites that you can search your articles for? Those produced by academic centers, including university and hospital sites, government-sponsored sites, professional organization sites, and sites of several medical search engines. So academic centers, you go to any well-known university, maybe Mahatma Gandhi University also might be having a health website, and you search for their library and you will get a lot of articles. It's just something which I just picked up on the net. And then there are the government-sponsored sites, that is the National Institute of Health, National Library of Medicine, or the PubMed. And there are also the professional organization sites, which is Science Direct is a good one. And then there is also the Science Direct, or the Skyverse is the world's largest scientific, technical, and medical information provider, and publishes over 2,000 journals as well as books and secondary databases. Then there is the Wiley Online Library, which is also having the Cochrane Library, and there is a Cochrane Review also. So there are several excellent medical search engines with remarkable search and retrieval capabilities for relevant healthcare information. So Directory of Open Access Journals, Open Science Directory, Free Medical Journals, openmd.com, TripBed database. And what is important for us, I'm always proud to say that the Journal of the Indian Prosthodontic Society, currently headed by the Editor-in-Chief, Professor Gopi Chandar, has ensured that we have indexing with the PubMed, and the past editors, of course, have also contributed, starting from Professor V.K. Subbarao or Veena Subbarao, and then Nagda Madam took it over, and then I was the editor, and then Dr. Shilpa Shetty was the editor of the journal. So a tribute to not only all of us, to the entire Indian Prosthodontic Society members. So you enter here and then you can start checking out for articles. The PubMed is a paid center. PubMed Central is a free open access journal where you can get complete articles. So I finished this here. My next part is on some interdisciplinary approach, along with my wife, who's an orthodontist, and she is not here, I hope. So I'm just saying prosthodontics rules, and I'm always proud to be a prosthodontist. So your interaction or interdisciplinary starts with right from the consultation with the architect. So, and then how your place is, how we are going to decide, and the electrical work, and then you have to meet other people also, and all the other facilities. These are things which are not done by any dentist. These have to be done by an electrical person, or a software also is incorporated into it. So these are all complex stuff. So our technology, we are driven by the educated people who know about these materials. So this is me. All these pictures I showed you was of my dental office. So a multidisciplinary approach greatly benefits patients needing comprehensive dental care. It should not be like you're walking on a tightrope without knowing where exactly you want to go. You need to be a superhero by yourself and have a clear path where you want to go. So only then you will be able to reach your destination and take all your people along with you. So that is important. So interdisciplinary approach can be cost effective to patients and from the treating dentist, and also from the standpoint of producing more durable, stable, and aesthetic restorations. So there have been improvements in function, oral health, and aesthetics, and it can be realized by appropriately planning the sequence and timing of treatment procedures. So if it is a single discipline, this is like a single loaf of bread. Um, Diversity of materials is minimal. Research into materials is good because it has been only one person. And research into the process, again, is also good. But then diversity of research is not there. If I'm seeing it only as a prosthodontist, then I'm not able to get other concepts into it. And your integration of the different fields is obviously not here. So there is a mixed media. I will cut the story a little bit short. And is interdisciplinary is going to give you good diversity of materials, research into the materials, research into the process, diversity of the research with other specialities, and integration of different fields. So where required, if it is a more complex treatment planning, you have to be in touch and you have to be aware about what the procedure is by yourself. Of course, all these things come with only clinical experience and over a period of time only. But you have to keep on looking. And if I can say this, there is a little bit of a lacunae in our teaching process, wherein planning of a comprehensive treatment plan might be a little bit lacking. That is what I used to feel during those days. I hope it is better now. It should be a more comprehensive. A periodontist should not just do a perio work. He should plan for the further endo work and in coordination with other departments in the institution. So all my clinical cases, I like to start with this little photograph here. This patient came to me. She was going to another dentist, and the other dentist had done a brush biopsy and found that it is some candida fungus in this one, and kept on saying the patient that there is no other issue, just candida, and he was giving her medication for candida. So this is almost for 6 months, and the patient goes through a similar frame, and then there is a reduction in pain, and the patient feels that pain has reduced and improvement is happening. So her son-in-law, who comes to me, forced her and asked her to meet me. So this is not something which I like. There is a lot of induration, and it's been there for 6 months, and a brush biopsy is not like a regular biopsy. So I called my oral medicine person, who took one look at it and said it is a carcinoma. The time the previous dentist has wasted on this one, it could have been potentially life-threatening for the patient. But luckily, this patient got through with just a simple surgery and some radiation and chemo. So it's good for her. So this is basically ortho cases, which have been, when we started with the treatment planning, you can see the pet laterals, there is space here, there is a missing tooth in this area, and orthodontic treatment was done. So the planning was done in such a way that we create space on the lateral incisor, increase the space here. The patient was okay with maintaining the space, edentulous area there. So once the orthodontic treatment was completed, we went ahead and gave her crowns for the peg lateral and a bridge for the other side. So this is another case who came to us. You can see when you see this you can see a proclination here. The texture of the teeth is not good. The texture is very dull, and patient had a bit of a bimax. So this is post-treatment. Again, you still see the texture. Patient was advised crowns at that stage itself. She didn't want to get it done, and she wanted to maintain with the current situation itself. She is a good-looking girl, but then this is the way that it kept on happening. And finally, she decided she wants to get it done and complete it. So a simple veneer, it just took 3-4 days. So you can see the texture, the way that teeth are going to look is going to be much, much more different. So working with an orthodontist and a prosthodontist, you can definitely improve the aesthetic part even better. And then this is another girl who was going through the orthodontic treatment. And you can see that there is a missing tooth here. So you can see a bracket in that missing tooth area. So acrylic tooth was put in that area and the orthodontic treatment was completed. A flap reflected and an implant placed and the procedure was completed. So this is another young boy. The general concept is you don't put implants up to the age of 18 to 20 to 22. But then he was in a bit of a hurry. So anyway, we finished his, he had a deep bite. And then the other specific thing here is the retained central incisors, deciduous central incisors. So 2 of them are retained. When you start doing a comprehensive treatment planning, you realize that the space for the incisor here, even a single incisor, it is in orthodontic journals, it is an accepted fact that single incisor replacement is sufficient. If there are 3 incisors, it still is aesthetically fine. So we decided to maintain space, and accordingly we removed 1 tooth out only, retained the other deciduous central, and kept sufficient space, measured it on this particular area. Later on, put an implant for him, and this is a temporary in place. And he did come over, and he is still there. He's a young boy now, 22 years of age, very highly educated, in a good place. He's in BITS Pilani. So this kind of tooth, if you see the root, it has got a curved root. So curved root is difficult to move by an orthodontist. So this space had to be maintained. And the patient didn't want this space, so we had to cover it up with a implant retained place. And this is another case, a little bit interesting, and basically that the reason was this girl was then 13 years of age, and she had this large lesion here. So we sent her for further investigation. So we can see a huge lesion extending all along on the lower left side. And this is the 3D image, and she had a caries, deep caries in the 3-6 also, and 3-5 is erupting. So this is how it is looking. So it was decided to extract all the infected teeth, the life of the patient, and the long-term, since she's just 13 years of age, maintaining the long-term health of the patient is important. So when we reflected this, we opened it, all the teeth had been removed, and then we had to do a root canal for this, and we placed some bone graft material into this area, and then finished it. Root canal was completed later. This particular radiograph was taken about 3 months after the procedure with the bone graft. And then COVID happened, and I didn't see her for, I gave her a RPD so that the space is going to be maintained, the occlusion is going to be maintained so that there won't be supra-eruption of the opposing tooth. So I didn't see her for a year and a half. And I was afraid that these teeth are going to supra-erupt. And she came back about maybe 2-3 months back. And I was also a little scared to look into her mouth because I was thinking that it's going to get supra-erupted. So the other reason of using an orthodontic appliance was something which I just realized, because this X-ray was done about 2 months back. There is no supra-eruption, basically because of the orthodontic wires which are holding the teeth in place. So I was very happy about that this has been maintained. And we will continue with the orthodontic treatment, and as quickly as possible, we will be putting in implants there in that area. So this is instant orthodontics, which we as prosthodontists can do, but then you need to take a little bit of care. So this patient didn't want to go through a longer procedure, and we got her here with a managing the space in between, so improving her smile. This is another similar case. And this is another young guy. I told him his teeth are going to look small, but I can finish it within a week. So he was happy with this, though I feel that it could have been a little bit better. Now, this case I want to discuss because on the same lines, a young dentist really spoiled this particular case. And the patient was in such severe pain when she was referred to me. And this was how her teeth were looking. And after making a small cut, I wanted to cut the crowns out. Then I thought I should take a picture and show you this also. So I took about almost 2 months to complete this case. The crowns were removed, and then the previous dentist had, what shall I say, crudely and mercilessly chopped off all the teeth. You can just see the way the teeth prepare. So root canal was done. The patient was having burning sensation in the center and having pain in all the teeth which are having root canals. So we had to again redo the entire root canal for all the 6 teeth, and finished it like this. She came back after about a year and a half, and she said, "Doctor, you saved my life. I was in such a pathetic situation. I could not do much work on the aesthetics, but there are reasonable aesthetics, and important thing is that pain is taken care of." So important thing to be learned here is when you are taking up such cases, you have to be choosy. You can't just do it for any case. This particular patient had to be taken up for orthodontic treatment with an extraction of a premolar on all sides, but it was done otherwise. So always suggesting the youngster to proceed with caution. Now, the reason for sharing this is I gave a lecture for orthodontists, or a similar lecture for orthodontists. And one of the things that they asked me to talk about was uprighting of the molar. So I tried uprighting, a similar uprighting for a patient, a good friend of mine. We put him braces, and I told him, wait for 3 months, we will finish this. So that guy didn't come back to me. Reason is basically because he was not happy with all the wires in his mouth. So after that, I have stopped uprighting. I make a little bit of proximal reduction, and I go ahead. And if you are going to use orthodontic treatment for uprighting of the distal or distalization of the molars, ensure that the patient wants it. Ensure that the patient is interested in going through it and is motivated for it. If we as dentists are going to motivate it, the patient might not carry through the treatment. So thanks to my wife, Dr. Anupama, for these photographs. So next part is going to be my last part. I think I'm on time, right, Kodia? Good. But I will take a long time with this. Celebrations IPS. So I'm just trying to talk about my journey, and also the celebrating my friends all along whom I have met. And I have, I somehow, when I started searching, I got photographs from the first conference that I attended myself in 1993. And I could not get all the year's photographs, but I have a lot of photographs. In the beginning, my regards and respects to my mother, because of whom I am here. This is me sitting along with her. She was the first lady dentist in the state of Karnataka. And there were 2 of them who passed out in their batch, 2 ladies in a batch of 10. And she was also the first postgraduate. It's not very clear. First postgraduate woman from the state of Karnataka, and definitely in dentistry. She was then the principal of Government Dental College. She's an orthodontist herself and director of medical education. So this is her now in all her glory. She is 78 years of age. God bless her well. This is my wife, my children. And this is me in 1993, attending a course on building up of ceramic. This guy's name was Mike Clavin. This is in Bharatiya Vidyapeeth, Pune. And my friendship started with that area itself. I did meet one Dr. Sanjeev Sharma in there. And then he's still a good friend. I've gone and visited him. He shifted off to America. I'm still meeting him. Then this is again in the next year in 1994. I went there in 93 into Pune. I attended that conference. I thought even I can give the presentations. So 94, I made a case, and I went and gave a lecture there. And I think this is Professor Meshram, sir, past president of Indian Prosthodontic Society. So this is again in 95. I presented my thesis then, and this kept on going on. And during that time, though I am not here in the photograph, I thought I should share this photograph because I should recollect all the people with whom I have had regards and respects for. Professor Sridhar Shetty is here, Professor Hari Prakash, And Professor Mahesh Verma is here, of course, our past president of India, Shankar Dayal Sharma, and FD Mirza sir is there. And in the back, respected Solomon sir, and then Suresh Chandra sir. This is Kashyap Bhargava sir. And if I am not able to recognize anybody, if any of you know, you please let me know. This is D.V. Nadgir sir, and M.S. Gaud sir, again Suresh Verma sir, and the late N.P. Patil sir is here. And from this side, our past president, Paramjit Singh, General Paramjit Singh, and then this is B.C. Shroff, on whom the national conference oration lecture is made. And then this is our past secretary, Dr. S.S. Karcha, who is here. This is from the Bangalore Prosthodontic Forum, wherein we felicitated Professor Sridhar Shetty on becoming the president of the Dental Council of India. And the reason I wanted to put this picture is I wanted to mention my friend of all the people here, Dr. Sudhakar. In fact, Sudhakar got me into the IDA setup. And from the IDA setup, I moved into the IPS setup. So I have due recognition for Dr. Sudhakar. I have new fresh photographs also, but then I don't have him along with, because he became a member of Legislature Assembly in 2004 and moved into mainstream politics, though he was having a good practice. Yes, he is my batchmate also. President was saying that he is his batchmate, and I just saying he was my 11th, 12th class batchmate also. So along with that, there is Dr. Surendra here, Dr. Lokesh, Dr. Prithviraj. So Dr. Prithviraj, one more photograph is there, my batchmate Ramesh Bhatt, Dr. Prafulla Tumati, and this is Dr. Soundar Rajan, who was the professor and HOD of GDC, all youngsters at this time. Dr. Malti, Dr. Umesh, and Dr. Harish, PV Harish, my again batchmate. There are other photographs here. So this is in 1998 conference, and Dr. Ramanand Shetty, my PG professor and guide. And here, this is Dr. Suresh Meshram, of course. And in the back, you see Mai sir, who has always been there in conferences. So this is my Dr. Jyoti Ramalingam, who was not doctor, he was Jyoti Ramalingam, who was IAS officer. He was then the secretary of medical education. And my mother, who was the director of medical education in Karnataka. Myself and my wife, and this is Abid in the back. This is from the 99 conference. And again, Professor Suresh Meshram, who was the president of Indian Prosthodontic Society then. And then at that point of time, I didn't know Professor Rangarajan very well. So once I got to know him, I have not left him. He is now my mentor, my guide, my leader, whatever that you can say, a good friend, most importantly. So, and then there is Solomon sir, and then Garcha sir. I don't know who these other people. I'm sorry for that. This is again in that same conference when Professor T.V. Padmanabhan sir was the hunger savior, like Swiggy is. He was Swiggy for us. Prafulla and myself, we reached there in the morning. We didn't have breakfast and went to the venue directly. So Paddu sir took us out for breakfast. And this is, though I have met him earlier, this is one of the earliest pictures I've had with him. And we have had some wonderful interactions later on. This is in 2004, when Sabita Ram Madam was the president of the Indian Prosthodontic Society. And this conference was in Bangkok, one of my first trips abroad, and I'm sure first trip abroad for many people also. And good friend Tirumurthy, Rupesh batchmate, and Dr. Kukreja, and this gentleman I don't know. And I just wanted to mention Professor Swaminathan, who was one of the leading prosthodontist teachers, academicians in Chennai. I was also bestowed the S. Ramchandra Oration Award by the Karnataka State IDA. So that also happened, and I became the president of IDA Karnataka State branch also. So this is during Paddu sir's time as president of the Indian Prosthodontic Society, 2008. Professor Rangarajan is here. And this was in the 2008 conference in Bangalore once again. And Dr. Nandikishore, and I think Lala Wage is here. And that is me, of course. So this was a pre-conference course on CAD/CAM carried out at that time. So Oxford Dental College at that time, I think, had the first CAD/CAM system. Now, of course, it is not very well used because people have lost and it's old technology that is present there. So as editor-in-chief of the Indian Indian Prosthodontic Society between 2008 and 2012, we could get out a lot of issues. About 16 issues came out along with 2 supplementaries. And then the founder secretary of the Indian Board of Prosthodontics. So 2014, we had the first exam, written exam of the Indian Board of Prosthodontics. And to commemorate that, the directors of the Indian Board of Prosthodontics, Dr. Sanjay Kalra, Mahesh Verma sir, Sridhar Shetty sir, Dr. Rangarajan was secretary then, Solomon sir, Mai sir, Padhu sir was the chairman. I was the founder secretary, Vaibhav Avinashe, and Meshram sir again. So more number of repeated names means so much of work that they have done. And then we had a golf tournament also. And this is Dr. Gurkar, Padhu sir, Ranga sir, my Brigadier Mahesh Gowda, Shilpa Shetty Pass at editor-in-chief of Indian Prosthodontic Society. And now my guide, my ex-guide, Professor Ramanand Shetty, who I have got a lot of respect and regard for, my friend Dr. Lokesh, myself, and of course Anand Krishna, who is currently the secretary of the Indian Board of Prosthodontics. And this was the first exam which was conducted. It was an all India exam. And we had different centers, 4 centers across the 4 to 5 centers across the country. And this was the first exam conducted, and Dr. Bide sir coordinated this along with me. And along with Padhu sir, when we had the first part 2 of the Indian Board of Prosthodontics. So this photograph I put in because I wanted to share the name of Professor George John, the current treasurer, who has been an active member since a long time also. And then you can see Dr. Anita Gala here, who's taking up the exam, and Dr. Gopichandar and Sanket. So when senior people are taking up the exam, I'm sure that Gopi was already was the editor of the journal, but still he took up the exam and he's been successful at it. He's going to take up the next exam. So when seniors can take up the exam, the youngsters also can take up the examination. So here you can see a very interesting table here. And the president was Himanshu Eran sir, secretary was Rangarajan sir, and that is for the IPS office. And Prafulla sir was the president-elect. And Padhu sir was the chairman of the Indian Board of Prosthodontics. Suhasini Nagda madam graced the occasion. And the examiners were Deshpande sir, then Chetan no, is not here in the picture. Chetan Hegde was the examiner. And then we had Satyabodh Guttal and Srinivasan as the examiners. So you can see the nervous candidates, Mohit, Anand, Murugan, and Sendil and Venkateshan sitting here. So examination in process. Chetan is here. I must thank all the examiners, though they were not attending that, many of them were not attending the conferences. They flew down and stayed by themselves just to be able to take up the examination. So I have a lot of appreciation and regards for the examiners. So this is the finalization of the results. Once everything was done, we finalized the results. And this is in the 2015 conference in Hyderabad, where Mahisar had organized a 5K run on similar lines with the golf tournament in the Chandigarh conference. And I took Kashi sir's permission. This is the suit which President sir is wearing, even J.R. Patel sir is wearing. This is the colors of the president, and this is the presidential suit. You can see that. I was supposed to wear it, but then I thought I should not take away President sir's glory, so I didn't wear it. So this Kashi sir's term, this was used first, and this is the photographs of him wearing it for the first time ever. And then happy to say that all the presidents have followed it. And I was made the president with the suit, and in the presence of, again, good friends, Manoj here, and then Sanat, Gopi, of course, is there, Ranga sir, Kashi sir, and Prafulla sir. And next, our secretary took over during that time, our honorary secretary, along with our mentor, Professor Rangarajan. So soon after that, we had a small meeting, and within a couple of months, Ranga sir handed over the secretaryship to Rupesh, and we had a brainstorming session in December 22nd, if I remember right, in Hyderabad. In January, we had a cricket tournament. My term was good fun. And then we had the inauguration of the West Bengal. Uday sir was the president. I had to mention that from 2011 onwards. In fact, he was the first president with the 1-year term. So most of the other presidents, all the other presidents before him had a 2-year term. So he had a curtailed term. And this is the lighting of the lamp. And this West Bengal branch was inaugurated during my term. And again, I must mention Sanjay Prasad, Manesh Bhai, and Saurav Banerjee here, along with, of course, Mai sir and Ranga sir. Rupesh is here. So now my wonderful conference, which I had along with Patel sir in the PG convention at Ahmedabad, and the excellent hospitality that he put across along with his team. Rajesh and I forget this lady's name, sir. No, this lady, Vilas, Dr. Vilas. And Manesh Bhai, of course, Manesh Lahori. So we had felicitations during that time. Here, Shweta Kumaraswamy madam is there. And the reason why I'm putting this is I wanted to, my friends Manesh Katyayan and Somil Mathur, Rupesh, of course, here, Nagda madam, Ranga sir, Mai sir, Hari is here, Suresh Meshram sir, and Gopi Chandar, and Kashi sir, and J.R. Patel sir, Manesh Bhai, and George. So by now, Prithviraj sir had retired. I showed you his photograph, but earlier this one. And we had the pleasure of felicitating him also. This presidential caller is from the Bangalore branch president, Dr. Srivatsa, and the secretary, Dr. Anand, and the past president of the Indian Prosthodontic Society, Dr. Kashinath. He was just the immediate past president at that time. Proud to say that this was not in my term, but proud to say that one more prosthodontist went on to become is currently the member of Legislature Assembly in the state of Karnataka from Mangalore, Dr. Bharat Shetty, and Dr. Jayakar, who has been felicitated, though then he was a DCI vice president. And today he is the vice chancellor of Rajiv Gandhi University of Health Sciences, which is indeed a proud privilege for all of us prosthodontists all over the country. This is the current, the then Vice Chancellor, Dr. Sachidanand Murthy, and of course, Chetan and Manoj and Sanat are here. Prafulla sir, Kashi sir's term. And I had an opportunity to be felicitated by my guide, Professor Ramanand Shetty, and Dr. Sridhar Shetty sir was my examiner both during my UG exam and my PG examination also. At this point, I want to recognize Sunil Daded, who is the secretary of the Karnataka State Indian Prosthodontic Society, and Dr. Raghunath Patil, who was the president at that point of time. And of course, Sanat, and in the background, we just saw Umesh and Chetan coming in here. I'm very privileged to be in such august company. So the annual conference during my term at Raipur, and I wish to acknowledge Dr. Deepesh and Neeraj, and of course Ranga sir is there. Rupesh is lighting the lamp, and this gentleman is, we all know, is Dr. Okesan, who graced the conference and gave a wonderful keynote lecture, inaugurating it. And in the background, you can see the president in waiting, Dr. Akshay Bhargava. He's still just waiting for his term. And Neeraj is here, Deepesh, and Dr. Saha. And this photograph was initiated by Honorary Secretary Dr. Rupesh, wherein the young team of background workers were felicitated and acknowledged. And this is just the last few minutes before the handover of my collar. The last photograph probably outside with the collar in place. And I'm proud to have handed over the collar to Professor J.R. Patel sir, looking as young and dashing as ever, even today also. J.R. Patel sir's term started off wonderfully well. We had a cricket tournament, we had a EC meeting, and then COVID hit us. COVID hit us bad. So the cricket tournament was helped out or coordinated by Dr. Ponnana, and you can see Akshay here, and there's one more Akshay here, Anand Krishna, Rohit was the current treasurer, and Srivatsa is here. Dr. Ranganath, I must remember at this point of time, who conducted this program. So after my term was over, I had the Srivatsa was then the president of the Indian Prosthodontic Society Bangalore branch, gave me the opportunity to conduct a local Bangalore branch best PG student of the year, which helped me give a thought and conduct the All India Best PG Student of the Year. This was initiated in J.R. Patel's term, and with the active support of Akshay Bhargav, we could complete it. It was good fun doing the program. Though the students who are taking up the program were not aware whether I am sir or madam. So I used to get letters addressed as dear sir, madam. I don't know, Ravindra being a female is a little bit difficult. Anyway, it's all taken in the stride. That's all right. And we travel, the prosthodontists, we travel, we go all around, and it is a fraternity. That's why I said celebrating IPS, because I am celebrating IPS, celebrating family like that. I am celebrating IPS, and you can see a lot of friends from all over. And this is in overseas conference, and this is again during the PG convention at Ahmedabad, just before the Chennai conference. And Akshay Bhargava sir, president, was elect at that point of time. This was the last travel which I did during the Chennai conference. And Akshay Bhargava sir liked the service of these two waiters at that this one, so he wanted a photograph. Then they even gave us a thank you cake, which of course we didn't eat because we were actually stuffed, I guess. This is just now. So Rupesh with his 3 presidents. We're wishing him many, many more. So I sign off all my lectures. Finally, time to sign off. I hope I have not eaten away too much of time with this little saying, Karmanyeva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana, ma karma phala hetur bhurmate sangostva karmani, which basically means, this is Krishna telling Arjuna in the war, in the great war, that you should not, when Arjuna said, I can't go ahead. So he said this, and the basic essence of this means you have control over your actions. You do not have control over the results of your actions. And just because you don't have control over the results of your actions, that does not mean that you should not initiate the action. So your duty is to work. So this is for all the postgraduate students, all the youngsters, all the young at heart, young in mind, and everybody across all age groups. You have the ability to take your actions, and you don't have the control over the result of your action. But just because you don't have control over the result of your action should not prevent you from doing that particular act if it is going to be helpful for others. So this is a photograph of Bangalore in the morning, in a winter morning. And thank you all. I wish to thank the team here, the organizing team, Narendra Padiyar and co, for a wonderful effort. And I wish to thank the Indian Prosthodontic Society for giving me this opportunity to talk for an hour plus with you. And thank you, President sir and Secretary sir, for sitting patiently and listening to my little lecture.
Thank you, Ravi. Yes, I'm sure people sitting elsewhere and watching you also would probably be appreciating it this way. That was a 3-in-1 kind of a presentation and narration with a difference, I should say. You went on from a clinical to a research, and probably you were symbolizing and telling all these students, youngsters, today, many of the youngsters are listening to you. And probably it was a symbolic gesture, you probably telling them that ultimately celebration is the essence. Your hard work in your clinic and your research, and then ultimately you need to celebrate life and be happy.
Yes.
Yeah, so that is a very symbolic way of putting things through. And you also told us, be interdisciplinary even in your practice and even at home. you're an epitome of that you get. And you're married to an orthodontist, so it also showed in many of the. I hope she's pulling you straight whenever you tilt. So as an orthodontist, so that's the advantage of marrying an orthodontist. So wonderful and emotional trip towards the end, where Dr. Ravi, when you went through all those wonderful pictures, it really pulled us back in time and took us through all the conferences which we have traveled together. We wish you the very best, Dr. Ravi, and God bless you. Shweta, over to you.
Thank you for that wonderful oration, sir, which marks a great start to our scientific sessions. I now request Dr. Akshay Bhargav, President IPS, and Dr. Rupesh, Secretary IPS, to kindly felicitate Dr. Ravindra Savdi with a token of appreciation. I now request Dr. Narendra Pariyar, Organizing Chairman, to felicitate Dr. Akshay Bhargav, President, IPS, with a token of appreciation. May I now request Dr. Gaurav Pal Singh, Organizing Secretary, to felicitate Dr. Rupesh, Secretary, Indian Prosthodontic Society, with a token of appreciation. Thank you all. Henceforth, the scientific sessions will run parallelly in two halls, Dr. Usha Rani Narayan Hall and Dr. Cecil William Hall. Have a great day of learning and growth. Thank you.